Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers.
Oh my
What?
God.
It's the three of us.
The three amigos are back.
Oh my goodness. The Titanic trio. You know what that means?
that we're
means
gonna
it's
crash into an iceberg?
I'm
or
not
something.
sure.
I don't know. I think it just means that we're doing an epic episode. So
Of course it does. Of course it does. But you know what, Mark? We have some breaking news. Our book is officially up for pre-order, Dark Side of the Smokies.
oh my gosh, it feels like it's been an epic journey. It has been. We went
It has been an epic journey. What are you
I'm
talking
sure they all thought we were lying about it, that it didn't exist at all, because
Yeah.
we were pretty cagey
I mean,
about it for a minute there.
we're not pulling a GRRM or a Patrick Roth, whatever his name is, where it's been 14 years since our book was due.
Yeah.
We're
It's
like,
been
we
a
also
couple.
wrote Winds of Winter, and that's coming out too. We
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
As part of our Dark Side of the Smokies, we wrote all those books you guys have been waiting on. No, just
Yeah,
kidding.
we just went ahead and finished those two. Those are bonuses. No. But
Yeah. But it's up for pre-order, so pre-order your copy. You can get it directly from the publisher, which is the number 4 Horseman Publications. We'll put the link. Or you can get it from wherever books are sold.
Yeah.
So please feel free to order a copy if you would like to. We should have it up on our website so you can get a signed copy up for pre-order.
And if you pre-order at fourhorsemanpublications.com, you get 15% off.
Oh, yes, that's
there you
true.
go.
That is true. That is true.
Yep. And if you find us at a convention or one of our appearances at eerietravels.com, you can get a code to get a discount as well. So
Yes.
Sneaky,
See, we have
sneaky.
so many codes, so many discounts, and so many books. And I know we're knee deep in working on the Dark Hearted Appalachians, which is our next book to come out.
Yep.
We're hoping to have that pre-order up a little bit later this year. So we're going to have a series of these. We are taking you all over the place. So
yeah, we've learned from our stumbles on getting this one out the door. So the next couple should come pretty quick. So at least one more this year and another one very soon in the early the next year. So
so we have many on the planning, my friends. And
I do have one more piece of breaking news that I wasn't going to say, but I think we do need to say it. So more breaking news. Sadly, one of our original friends of the show, Paranormality Magazine, has closed its doors. So they will not be publishing any more issues currently. So we're sad to hear them go. They were a lot of fun. They put me on the cover. That was their mistake. So
That was the downfall.
How to Tank Your Magazine. Put Mark Muncy on the cover.
yeah,
Well,
no, it
if
was a good
people find
magazine.
us at cons, they can get the Mark Muncy cover, because I'm pretty
Yes, they
sure we
can.
still have
We've got a
some.
limited number left. So find them. They're collector's items now.
And by limited number, we mean like 10. So if you want
Yeah.
one, you need to get it. Not like a made up number and Mark's got like 400 of them in his
No,
garage.
we bought a bunch when they
Not
came out,
anymore.
and now they're gone. So yeah,
Yeah.
we've been selling them at cons for a year. But anyway, had to bring that up too. But the reason we're all here today is we need to catch back up on listener questions.
Listener questions. I'm so excited about
guys-
this.
Yeah, you travelers have sent us tons, and we sadly kind of let it slide because we were inundated with listener tales as well. So we want to get back on track with both. We're kind of catching up on the listener tales, but please don't stop sending them. We love them. EerieTravels.com, contact us or send them to any of our websites or message us. We appreciate it. So
Exactly. Or go on our Discord. I don't know if we
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about it for a while, but we have a very active Eerie Travels Discord with a lot of travelers. We love all of you. We share our pets, we share our stories, we share our weirdness. There's lots of interaction. Plus, Mark likes to randomly post weird crap nobody's ever heard of. So it's like being on the show.
and
with
I try to keep up, the breaking news there as well. Plus our Patreon, we have a little blog there that Carrie keeps up. So it's nice to see, and we post early episodes. My Tuesday episodes of my mini-sodes, they go up there early for Patreon members. So
Very cool. Yep, it's very cool. So follow us, stalk us. We love it. We appreciate it. And with that, Bo, You haven't been on the last couple of Listener Tales episodes, so I'm going to make you start us off here,
All
my
right.
Oh
dear.
goodness.
I will start with the first question.
All right.
All right. This question is from Jason. And it says, I finally started watching some of the movies you all discussed. There were some series I can't find called Karth something that Mark keeps bringing up. What is it and where do I find it? I think this is a Mark question.
It's got to be a Mark question because I don't even know because I probably
It's
tuned
not-
out whatever he was saying.
It's
so.
not Karth something. It's Garth something. It's Garth Marenghi.
Garth Marenghi.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Bo, you're gonna
That's
have to
gotta
clack
be.
to make sure we put the link to Garth Marenghi's.
Oh, of course
epic-
I will, because we love him so much. Mark
Yeah,
and
Garth
I are big
Marenghi's Dark
fans.
Place. I love that he did a couple new novels that the audiobooks are amazing. And so they were so amazing that his third novel is not coming out as a novel, it's coming out as novella audiobooks.
And you can watch the entire show on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because you can't really find it much anywhere else. But they're all on YouTube.
No, it is. Where is it? Where did I see it? Because I
It's on
just
Amazon.
played it.
It's on Amazon
Is
Prime.
it?
Amazon Prime. I
Yep.
just played it for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law who are up in North Carolina now, so they're staying with me and the hubby bubby. But they watched the first episode and literally they were like, "What the fuck is this?" So, travelers, if you haven't heard what Mark said, all I can say is go watch it and then blame him, please. Thank you.
You'll
It's
thank
so
me
good.
later after you realize how awesome it is. But anyway.
Okay, that is not what you're going to realize. But
Stick
it's
around
okay.
for the giant eyeball baby.
Yeah,
It's
Giant Eyeball
amazing.
Baby.
Oh, gosh.
Woman made of broccoli. It's intense.
Stop
and
giving away all that. You're spoiling
well,
it.
just Matt Berry singing. Come on, that's all you need to know.
Okay.
Matt Berry
Jason,
singing an 80s rock ballad. So
at your own health danger on that one. You're welcome. Okay, Mark, you want to do the next one?
sure. All right. So here we go. Greetings, travelers. Greetings. So I have a question. Well, good. This is a listener question episode. What is the difference between Dogman and Bigfoot? Lila.
Well, Lila, can I take this one pretty please?
Go, Eric. I want to hear your answer for this.
So my answer is this. The biggest difference is I feel like Dogman is more predatory than Bigfoot. Dogman, most of the things about them, they hunt in packs and they're not very pleasant to encounter if you encounter them, where Bigfoot tends to try to scare you off away from its area. Dogmen will instead rip you apart and throw you up into trees, aka the 1984 camping incident where we definitely think it was a Dogman. So that is the abbreviated answer, Lila. And for more information on that, you could listen to our Dogman episode or any of our Bigfoot episodes that go into the behavioral patterns of these preternatural creatures. Didn't that sound scripted?
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like how one of my favorites. Oh gosh, he's one of the Florida hunters. He's gonna kill me there. I can't remember his name, but he has a great comment that basically Dogman is Bigfoot's asshole brother. So
perfect. Yep. That about sums it up too.
Yeah, Dogmen are much more territorial. They're very aggressive. Again, no proof that they've ever hurt anybody, but every story I've talked to, the witnesses, they just have this primal fear when they're around them. They all say they look like effing werewolves. They don't say effing, they go for the money. And then they all say that something about them stopped them, that they couldn't react, couldn't draw the gun, couldn't draw the camera. Not that it attacked them, but it was enough. It was that primal fear. So there's something unnerving about them. Whereas Bigfoot, people react still usually with some sort of reaction, but not necessarily fear. And they look a little more ape-like or caveman-like or, whatever. Bigfoot has a lot of variation.
Mark, we did the sum up version to answer Lila's question.
All right.
But that's important. One is dog-like and one is ape-like.
Yeah.
So if you look at it from far away and you're like, wow, that looks like a dog man. If you look at it and go, that looks like an ape, Bigfoot.
Yeah, there you go. All right. I
We're
like
gonna
that
get
one, Bo.
killed for that sum up, but I'm moving on. Thank you,
All
Lila.
right.
Okay. What are some of the creepiest paranormal experiences that you can't explain? When I was an adult, are you not an adult anymore? Anyway, when I was an adult, I was always very dismissive of the paranormal. But despite this, I myself had two very creepy, unexplainable paranormal experiences. The first was when I saw a ghost in my school who, in a blink of an eye, literally disappeared. And the second was when me and my brother snuck into an abandoned church. We heard someone screaming. There was nobody else there but me and myself. I think you meant brother is. So my question is to you, what is the most creepy paranormal experience that you can't explain naturally? This is from Holiday.
That's a big question.
That is a very loaded question, Holiday.
Yeah.
What is the creepiest paranormal experience that you can't explain?
For me, the creepiest paranormal experience that I can't explain is just that general sense of dread that you get when you walk into certain locations. Not necessarily haunted, not necessarily Bigfoot, not necessarily, I mean, they could be anywhere. And you'll
Like
just
that
suddenly
heavy,
get
heavy
that
feeling.
you get that paralyzed with fear feeling.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't love that. What I can't explain is how there are times that I can walk into a room and know something terrible has happened, and I don't know why I know that.
Mm.
And it's
do you
not
have
like an
like an
old abandoned
example?
house and I know something terrible. People are in the room and I can tell some sort of interaction has occurred that is not good. That's creepy to me because I don't know why I know that. What about you, Bo?
I think like more like unexplained noises that I can't like explain away rationally. Like I told the story a bunch on here about like the disembodied drums and not being able to pinpoint where they were, and that's really disconcerting as a human, like as like a prey animal, and being like, what is that noise? I can't find it, and then there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Holiday, you said that you'd had a couple experiences, but you're still pretty dismissive of the paranormal. I get that. People don't want this stuff to be real. I mean, there's a reason these skeptics are here, right? And they don't want to believe it at all, and that's fine. It's 100%. We don't have to believe it, and you don't need to believe it. But there's still always that there's something that doesn't make sense. Something doesn't click. And that's why we do what we do. We document, we tell these stories, we read emails. Hopefully something clicks somewhere and it goes further than where we're at. But for right now, we're all still at that document stage. There is no science on this. There is no definitive proof. And there's a reason for that. There's lack of funding. There's lack of effort. Thankfully, we have the TV shows now that are helping all that. But even that doesn't make it mainstream, but we're trying.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that everybody's own has their own version of what's scary to them. So I think it's hard to answer that because some people are creeped out by clowns, for instance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And others are creeped out by werewolves, I don't know, but I think that everybody has their own version. And so you don't want to try to guess what other people's creep out's going to be. Because I can tell you what creeps me out is not the same thing that creeps Mark out, and it's not the same thing that necessarily creeps Bo out. That's our answer. So hopefully that helps. Bo, over to you, my darling.
Has anyone experienced an energy portal in broad daylight? A year ago, while walking to my language school along my usual route, something strange happened. Out of nowhere, I felt like time stopped. For about 10 to 15 seconds, I was inside what felt like a bubble, disconnected from everything around me. I wasn't pulled into anything, but I became aware of something that felt like another dimension. I couldn't remember what I saw, but the experience was vivid and left me deeply intrigued. When I snapped back to reality, I was standing on the footpath like nothing had changed. I've walked that route many times since, but the feeling hasn't returned. It was a one-time experience, and while it was unsettling at first, it sparked my curiosity. Has anyone experienced something similar? Any thoughts on how to explore this further? And this is from David.
Well, David, it sounds like you potentially pop dimensions. That would be my guess for a moment.
It's like we've discussed many a time. We've had a lot of people write in about experiences very similar to this, that they've had just strange things where they're suddenly in a different place, a different time for just a few minutes, or sometimes a day, sometimes an hour. But it's always something strange. And that bubble feeling, we've had that a couple times in a couple of these emails that we've gotten from people. So we're not sure what this phenomena is. I like to think it's parallel universes bumping against each other. Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe some overlapping. But let me know if Dolly had braces wherever you went.
Yeah, exactly. Gosh, you're dying for Dolly to have braces.
Wherever that is, I'm going. That's my whole
the litmus
dimension,
test
so.
for anything. Is did Dolly have braces? Yes, Mark will go.
Yeah.
If not, he's staying here.
And if Briscoe County Jr. or Middleman had more than one season, I'll go there too. I'll accept that. So.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Moving on. Thank you, David. Mark.
Oh yeah. Okay. Appalachia has always been extremely interesting to me. Me too. I've heard so many stories come out of the region, as well as norms supposedly performed by locals. What are some customs, norms, and stories you all have to share? Now, norms is a fun term. Are you guys familiar with that one?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know if I understand it in this context.
It's not like
I thought
normal.
I thought it meant like traditions that they did.
That's it's like a ritual tradition. That's their word for ritual. They didn't want to call it ritual because that would be against the church. Right. They all go to church on Sundays. They all do this, but this is their other things that they do. So it's a term, it deep holler stuff. So I'm very happy that you know the term, and I'm glad we could share it here. I haven't really shared that much. That's actually in our next book. But customs and norms, stories, I mean, that's what we do. We've shared so many stories on here. I'd like to say you can pre-order Dark Side of the Smokies, available now for pre-order. And that's a bunch
of the Appalachias, and Eerie, Appalachia, which covers a whole bunch of the Appalachias. Let's pick one little thing, Mark. Why don't you choose one little thing you want to slide in that maybe people don't know?
Of course, it's the classic when you hear someone calling your name in the woods and it's not someone you know, don't answer.
Even if it sounds like somebody you know, don't answer.
Even if it isn't, but you kind of know they're somewhere else, don't answer, because that's just asking for trouble. Now, if you're lost in the woods and you need help, please, go ahead. But,
I was going to say, what if you're lost?
Yeah, if you're lost or something like that, you want to answer that. But if you're just walking outside and left your kids inside and then you hear your kids yelling for you deep in the woods, no, don't fall for it.
Yeah. Well, another thing that I thought I'd throw out here that I've seen a lot up here on the hiking trails is don't stack the rocks.
Yep.
Don't stack the rocks. So that is a tradition a lot of hikers do to keep people on a path. But here, you're not supposed to stack the rocks up in the.
Isn't it bad for the environment, like in general?
It is. Rocks. But there's also some superstition around stacking the rocks. So don't stack rocks. So those are our two little gimmies right now.
Or if you do stack them, take your photo and then unstack them and put them back where they were.
The problem is like things like if it's in the water or near the water, the rocks you're moving could disturb the hellbenders, which are very endangered, because that's where they breed, is in piles of rocks. And if you move that rock, you may have destroyed 1 million eggs, and only a couple of them ever make it to adulthood as is. So that's why we just say don't mess with the rocks. Period. Moving on.
Thank you, Lee. Get our books. Thank you, Lee. Okay. I think I saw my first cryptid tonight.
Congratulations.
Well done, my friend. Okay, not 100% sure, but the animal in question does not match any native mammals or animals in my area. I live in Northwest Ohio. I was traveling east on State Route 224 at about 10 p.m. heading to work. It was about the size of a wolfhound. It wasn't one or a Great Dane or a wolf or a deer or a bear. It wasn't afraid of cars and looked at me and walked into the weird woods nearby. Thoughts, Michelle?
Hmm. Okay.
Michelle, we're gonna need a little more detail in order
Yeah,
to
I was gonna
answer that
say, I feel
question.
like we need more description of what it is, not what it isn't.
But
Yeah,
yeah, Northwest Ohio, we have a couple teams there. That's where our buddies Cryptids of the Corn live, and they have a lot of contacts too. Again, I'd like a little more, size of a wolfhound. Sounds like it's doggish the way you're describing it, but again,
hyena,
not sure. We'd love to hear more.
hyena.
Yep.
We could ask
We
Justin.
did
Definitely
learn
that area.
about all the hyenas that are like
Yep.
roaming around.
Yep. And it's not too far from Bray Road in Michigan. That Northwest Ohio is
Oh,
not far from Southeast Michigan. So
yeah.
there's a couple things that could be up there. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'd love to hear more, Michelle. Please reach out.
You send us a really good description, Michelle, of what it looked like, and that's how we can help tremendously with trying to narrow it down. And then, depending on what you say to us, we'll reach out to Cryptids of the Corn and ask Justin and them what they think it might be too, because they're up in that neck of the woods. And as much as I'd love to say animals are quarantined to the areas where we think of them as, we are seeing more and more like the panther that's been seen up here in Western North Carolina. There's been more than one panther being seen up here, like black panthers in Western North Carolina, where everybody would say, those don't exist there. And Justin talked about the hyenas. That's why I brought it up, because hyenas are much bigger than people think they are. And they look like a huge kind of dog creature, and they're very scary. And a lot of times they give 0 F's about life in general. So there could be so many things it could be, because the boundaries where animals are quarantined do not necessarily exist the way we think they do anymore. So that's my 2 cents. So Michelle, send us a better description. We would love to quote unquote dissect it with our words.
But because you don't know what you saw a preternatural thing, something you cannot explain. Good job. You did see a cryptid.
Exactly. Okay, Bo, take us away with the next one.
I will take us away. This one has a great title. Dead pigeons at my house? What does it mean?
I love it.
Okay, we have all seen the movies. So why were there 2 dead birds in my yard that looked like they ran into a window and died? I live in my boyfriend's mom's house. Everyone has moved out since then, but all generations talk about the man in the closet. Oh, I don't like that. At first, I laughed and thought of it as a Family Guy reference with the monkey. You know, it starts off in 2009 peak internet. There was a site called, like, it was probably Newsgrounds. I don't remember but can get info if you want. But what you do is type a question into the bar and so would answer it. Well, teens being teens thought it was BS and played with it. It started off basic. What am I wearing? What's my name? It'd answer. Then the internet demon said, why are the children laughing? It's because I'm playing with them behind the couch. Oh, that's scary. All the little kids were playing, laughing at something behind the couch. The chat then said the younger kids to be careful, not knowing what it meant till one kid falls moments later. The mother, it's her house, is extremely religious. She heard the kids were scared and went immediately to said closet and started praying. Chat Demon replies that he has to go now because he can't be here anymore. Long story short, I feel said demon is drawn to mom and the kids started talking to it. But the mom doesn't live there anymore, and it's just me and my little family. But now my kids talk about the man in the closet. And this is from Danny. So
yeah.
I think we have 2 elements here. One,
Yes.
there's a ghost man in the closet that is being seen. 2, they were using an old like AI chat from back in the day to like, ask questions, and it was answering in a way that was similar to what was happening in their house.
So,
right?
Bernie,
Am I getting
can
that?
clarify this for you. Burn the house down.
Don't go on the computer, burn the house down.
Just burn it down. Nope. Definitely out of
Don't
this.
use the internet. No, I don't remember the site, but I do remember a couple chatbots supposedly being the devil or demons and stuff like that. Again, they're written to be spooky. They're written, those algorithms are meant to do stuff like that.
And they sound vague enough that you like,
oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like cold reading from the fake psychics and stuff. It's the same thing. It's reading what your questions are and figuring out what's going on around you. And you don't realize you've told it that, oh, there are kids in the house. There are things in the house. And it's kind of like seeing faces in the fire. You're thinking, you're finding out what you want to happen. Yeah. Now, bird flying in the house, we just had 2 fly into our house and smash into our big glass window.
So what you're saying is birds aren't smart.
I think when they migrate, they sometimes get a little crazy, especially in the spring, because they're trying to show off for all the mates, and they do some crazy flying, and sometimes they hit houses. Now, if you get many birds hitting your house, that is something to be concerned about, because something's drawing them to your property. I forget what movie it was. One of the recent horror films, I say recent, probably about 10 years ago, but they got hit by 3 swarms of birds one night at the same night, and they didn't know what was going on. And that turned out to be a possession thing. So, it could be something supernatural. I'm not saying it's not, but I am saying it doesn't really sound like anything super spooky yet, except for the guy in the closet. And that could just be guy in the closet. So
yeah, just go tell the guy in the
which
closet.
Is worse.
Tell him he's not welcome in the house anymore.
Yeah, if you want. Yep.
Or he has to pay rent, Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Start
Get a freaking job, guy in the closet.
Okay. Mark.
Oh yeah, my turn. I forgot where we were. All right. Did anyone ever think Bigfoot, skinwalkers, and other cryptos are demons? Jim. Yes, people do think that, because people think a lot of things are demons. Thank you, some of the TV shows. Also, thank you, some churches believe anything that's not man or animal is a demon. I don't think that's the case. I do think there are negative entities out there that are demonic, but I'm not I don't like lumping them all into demons. I mean, not everything's a demon, gang.
Exactly.
And now, are they, negative creatures? Yes, there are some out there. I don't think Bigfoot is one of those. Skinwalkers, we've had discussions of that. I think a lot of things get lumped into that. I like that you called them cryptos instead of cryptids. That sounds like Bigfoot and Dogman walking up to you. Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, cryptos for life. Yeah.
Or that they're gonna sell you like Bigfoot coin or something.
Oh yeah, cryptocurrency. There you go. Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke about cryptocurrency being demonic, but
that is demonic, but we don't talk about that. Either that or the lizard people made it.
So, yeah, I don't think they're demons either, but I think we need to take a quick break to insert said commercial break. So, hear from our sponsors.
Prepare to be devoured. The Wolves of Wharton is a 6-part complete book series by Eerie Travels producer Bo Lake. It has been called dark and visceral, steamy, dramatic, and a fresh take on the werewolf mythos. If you like action, adventure, a large serving of body horror, and some steamy relations, the Wolves of Wharton series is for you. Pick it up wherever books are sold, or at linktree.com/Bo__Lake.
Okay, now that I've refueled and we've heard from our sponsors, if you could read one spooky book this year, what would you pick? This is Leanne. Well, we are on the Patreon going to read The Night in Lonesome October this year. So that will happen. I'm going to guess Mark would say House of Leaves.
That is a good one. That is a very spooky one. If I could only read one spooky book this year, it would probably be, that would definitely be up there. I always read Haunting of Hill House. I always read Halloween Tree, Ray Bradbury. Those are all ones I try to read every year. I try to read War of the Worlds and Dracula every year. So, but if I can only pick one, maybe a new one, something coming out that piques my interest, just because those are comfort foods for me. I've read them all. I can read them in my mind pretty much. So I'd maybe pre-order Dark Side of Appalachia, but Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains, presented by Eerie Travels. No, I would. No, I would probably say something. I think Christopher Golden has a new one coming this year, and he is always spot on. And our good friend Jackie Sonnenberg has a new one that just came out, and I intend to read that immediately. So that would be up there. So
yeah, Jackie Sonnenberg is Macabre Village.
Macabre Village, yeah, first in a series.
Macabre Village is the start of I think there's going to be 5 books in that series, and Macabre Village is the first one. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Well, Bo should have another book coming out later this year, so we'll have to all pay attention for that. So no pressure, but he's on the block now. Okay. So yes, Leanne, we can't pick just one. We're terrible about that because we all are avid readers. So
and I was gonna say I'll only read horror, like basically, so I'm just reading horror constantly.
Yeah.
So I can't.
We did an episode on spooky reads for October. I think it was not last year, but the year before. So look that one up, and it's got a lot of great recommendations, and not just tooting our own horns. I think
Discord, we talk about books.
Yeah,
so
we have a book club on Discord.
A lot. Yeah. So join it. The link's in the show notes. So there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Bo.
Yeah.
It's my turn again. Okay.
Top of the order.
This one starts, hey, Mark. So, Mark, get ready. You're going to answer a question. Hey. You spoke to our class the other day. It was great to learn about cryptids. I didn't get to ask you my question since we ran out of time. What do you think about Mongolian death worms? And this is from Bill.
Oh, Bill, thank you so much for that email. That made my heart grow. That was good. I did enjoy talking. I've talked to a few classes recently. I think this is probably that class from Georgia that I had 3 days of talking to via Zoom to gifted programs, which I was a gifted kid. So it was nice to talk to these kids, and they were all doing classes. They were all doing reports on various cryptids and mythological creatures. So that was very, very cool. Now, your question is Mongolian death worms. Okay. These are a fun subject. Just one of those cryptids that I think is more creepypasta than official. What do you got there, Bo? Oh, great. Yeah, got her Mongolian death worm there. They're leech-like. They are from Mongolia. They get shipped around the world. There's always an outbreak somewhere of them, supposedly. I don't know. Maybe they're shipped with those hyenas we talked about. It's just, they get big. Some of them are like 30, 40 feet long and swallow horses whole. So I don't know. I think this is one of those, I need a lot more boots on the ground to find this. And not just stories on creepypasta and internet forums. Sorry.
It always makes me think about Tremors.
Yeah, I would Graboids would be great. I think that's a great movie to watch, and it's family friendly, so you can watch that one, Bill. Although I think the second and third ones are better. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
all right.
Since
so
Mark
my turn next.
That one, Mark gets to go though.
Yep. Thank you, Bill. All right. So What do you all think about this case? Maybe he glitched out. On the night of March 31st, 2006, 27-year-old Brian Schaefer, a medical student at Ohio State University, went out with friends to celebrate the start of spring break. They bar hopped through Columbus, Ohio. Sorry about that. Eventually ending up at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, a popular bar near campus. Surveillance footage captured Brian entering the bar around 1:55 a.m., but strangely, he was never seen leaving. His friends assumed he had gone home, but when he failed to show up for a planned trip to Miami with his girlfriend 2 days later, concern grew. Well, maybe he's just avoiding Miami. I don't know. I'm just picking off every city here.
That airport.
Yeah. Police reviewed all security footage from the bar and surrounding areas, but there was no sign of Brian leaving. The only visible exit was heavily monitored, leading to speculation that he may have left through a restricted back area or met with foul play inside the bar. His cell phone, credit cards, and bank account were never used again, and despite numerous searches, interviews, and national media coverage, no trace of him was ever found. Over the years, theories have ranged from abduction, an intentional disappearance, or even an accident that led to his body being concealed. Despite extensive efforts, Brian Schaefer remains missing, making his case one of the most bizarre unsolved disappearances in U.S. history. Lydia Lynn Allen. Well, Lydia, I have heard of that case. I've heard lots of theories on it. You've heard of that one too, Bo?
Yeah.
What's your theory on it?
My theory is either the two pervasive theories I've heard is either there was construction in it, not in the Ugly Tuna, but next door, and that he wandered into something and got trapped. Or I think there was something about water too, that maybe he drowned. I think is there water in Columbus? I don't remember.
There's a pond nearby. But
yeah, I think the other thing was that that
so
he drowned.
Could have washed them out to sea. It goes out to I can't remember the river there, but I've also heard that kind of an odd theory, but one that he was supposedly testifying in a trial, and it may have been like a witness protection thing where he had just done his testimony 2 days before. So this may have been he disappeared. Imagine that. And so they can't just come out and say, oh, he's FBI witness protection, stop looking for him. But that may be why the case just kind of stopped very quickly, why he's still just listed as a missing person. Because we know a few of those turned up later as they were on witness protection, stuff like that. So that's one of the odd theories on this. It's an odd one. Yeah, maybe he did glitch out, but I don't know.
He obviously went to where Dolly had braces and
exactly. Maybe he went to that universe and said, I ain't coming back. Garth Marenghi has 6 seasons in a movie here. I ain't coming back to this one.
God, I want to go to that universe.
Okay, here we go. Hello. Hello, Mark. On Coast to Coast, you mentioned a witch ghost that challenges you to a race. Were you aware of a very popular anime, Dan, that the main characters encounter a ghost in an abandoned tunnel that will race you? The ghost name is Turbo Granny in the anime. How old is the legend of the witch ghost? The anime is only about a year or so. The animes are usually based on written graphic novel manga that precede the anime. Thanks. Take care, Bill.
Hi, Bill. Yeah, that was a lot of fun being on Coast to Coast. I always love doing that show, and they take calls for the last half hour while I'm on, and it's always fun to get questions from the audience, and a lot of people have to email us later. So thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're tuning into the show here. We got a lot of new listeners from Coast to Coast, so thank you all for joining us and staying with us. But yeah, the witch that challenges you to a race is in Mississippi, and the name is escaping me for the moment, but it's this swamp road, and you go out on it, and there's an old abandoned church which the swamp has reclaimed. But on this road, Carrie loves it because it's in the middle of a swamp and it's kind of like a gravel road, and there's literally swamp on both sides of you. There is nothing else. But you go up to where the church was, which is a little side road, and you honk your horn 3 times, and the witch shows up, and she challenges you to a race. and you've got to get to the end of the road before she does. But she cheats because she has 3 legs. That's the joke. And it's an interesting secret. But we talked to tons of people who knew that story, and it goes back decades. So I assume whoever wrote the manga may have heard of that legend and maybe looked it up. I know a lot of Japanese manga is infatuated with the folklore of America. We have how many Flatwoods monsters and Mothmans are in Japanese video games because they are so fascinated with our folklore. So yeah, I believe it.
With folklore in general, it doesn't matter if it's from us or other places. They tend to intertwine folklore into a lot of their stories.
Well, we do the same thing. We remake half their movies, so
they don't always do a better job of it. So
no,
gonna put that out there.
We often don't.
Yeah. Okay. Bo.
Kentucky Coyote Killer. That's a cool title.
I like that.
Kentucky Friends.
I love when you guys
specifically
title.
Yeah, I love when they're titled.
Cool titles.
I know. Kentucky Friends, specifically those in the Jackson and Hazard areas. Have you noticed an increase in dead coyotes in odd places? I was traveling back from Hazard to Elliott County the other day, and between Hazard and Jackson, I saw a dead coyote draped over a large rock that looked like it had fallen or been thrown from the top of a road cut. It was far back from the shoulder and draped over a boulder in such a way that it wouldn't have been likely to have been thrown there by a truck hitting it. But that might have been a remote possibility. Because of traffic, I didn't get a photo of that one. But shortly after that, still traveling SR-15, but now on the other side of Jackson, I saw another one. This one I did stop and get photos of. This one not only looked like it had fallen from higher up on the road cut, but it has a rock lying across its body. It was also on the first tier of those high road cuts through there. I'd estimate at least 20 feet or more up from the shoulder where I pulled over and shot these photos using a Canon EOS Rebel with a 300 millimeter zoom lens. So what are your thoughts? More importantly, if you have gotten any other reports from around Jackson, have you seen others? Did anyone possibly get photos of the other one? This would have been last Friday, April 4th, when I was through there, but I'm just now getting time to pull the image from the camera. Where can I send the photos? And this is from Wilson Deacon.
Oh, Wilson. Starting with, you can send the photos to info@eerietravels.com and we will get them. So please feel free to send them there. But so I don't know what a road cut is. I don't know that term. What does that mean?
Kind of what's happening where they're working on that hillside across from where you're living, and they're building that new road, and they're digging into the side of the mountain, and it makes a cut. Okay. Yeah, so it's like a cut in the mountains so that it's like a higher cliff, and then suddenly something falls off of it. They call those road cuts. And that's and in Kentucky, they're doing a lot of Hazard and Jackson. Speaking of dead coyotes, yes, I've gotten other reports in that area of dead animals, and there have been sightings of, they're saying bear, so it could just be a bear. Bears don't usually tangle with coyotes much, but they can. And but that also is usually sometimes police speak for something they don't understand. Bear. Yeah. So.
But why would a bear sling a coyote over a rock and just leave it there near the highway? I feel like that's a little something else.
They would have eaten it.
Or put it under a rock in the case of the other one. Like that, they wouldn't do that.
No, and there are some animals that like to put their prey up in a tree so other things won't get it, but they don't go that high. Like a
leopard?
Yeah, but I mean, there are some animals in the U.S. that do it too, like bobcats do it. But they don't take a coyote up there. They'll take smaller animals and put them up there and stuff. But sometimes a deer, but it's interesting. I definitely think you're on to something there, Wilson.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder also if that is an omen for something, a dead coyote. It would be interesting to hear from any travelers that might know some history behind why they would choose a predatory animal like that. Because it's not like a deer or something else. It is, I mean, no offense, not that coyotes can't be caught and killed and blah, 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 but they're not easy creatures in the great scheme of things to necessarily hunt down and throw over rocks.
No, the only other
So-
option that I'm kind of concerned, it is in, road cuts are generally in construction areas, and construction work crews will sometimes kill coyotes just because they're in their way, and it's technically legal to kill coyotes. So they might have killed it and just left it there for other animals to take away. But that seems odd to me too. I don't think they'd do that. I think they'd have somebody pick it up and store it or get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't think they'd display it like that because that would come back at them potentially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
weird. But travelers, if you know anything about it, please reach out. If you have pictures, please send them to info@eerietravels.com. We could start a montage.
Our coyote death watch photos.
Yeah, there we go. Heck yeah.
Coyote Death Watch 2025.
Report. Yeah, please.
Yes. Okay, Mark.
Yeah,
We got two more to go in this lovely episode, so go for it.
Oh man, yeah, we're caught up. So all right. So for the past few weeks, I've been finding bodies of deers scattered around. Hey, wait a minute.
Oh no.
Oh, wow.
But not normal, like they just have their skin bit off. The ones I found have been recent, with all the skin ripped off the bone, and bite marks or parts of the bone completely bit through. Now, I do live in an area where black bears can be, but it isn't entirely common. I found many parts of deer scattered, as I said, but sometimes I'll search around the area and never find parts of the body. Like one time I found half a skull missing, possibly eaten by whatever is eating them. I don't know what is eating them, but I have been hearing some whistling at night. I don't know what from. I'm worried that something is in my woods and is bothering the ecosystem. I could just be paranoid, but I generally don't know what it is. Lee. Ooh.
Well,
I will say, as someone who has like woods in my backyard, and we have found a bunch of like animal bones that I may or may not have then brought into my house, because that's just what I like to do. It is not uncommon to find part of a skull and not the other part of the skull. Like I found a jawbone and not anything else, or I found a turtle shell and nothing else from the turtle. Like it just kind of happens just in nature. So that part's not weird at all, really.
No, I would say raccoons and animals will just, you don't realize how much they dig into the carcasses and stuff like that. They don't leave much behind. They'll take the bones, they'll chew the bones down. Possums will eat anything. Throw a turkey, throw your rotisserie chicken carcass out your back door and see what's left in a day. There won't be anything left.
I was going to say, it sounds like you might just have some new predators in the area. And like we said, there's a lot of predators and they move to where food sources are. So what may be a good idea is if you want to tell us where you are, we could get a team that's local to come out and give their thoughts on what they think it is. Yeah. And they'll say whether or not it's like normal animal stuff, So,
or get a trail cam and put it out there too.
Oh,
yeah. See what you catch.
The thing that scares me about that is the whistling at night. That is one of our favorite Appalachian truths: is don't go whistling in the woods at night, and if somebody else is whistling at night, you didn't hear it. So
don't whistle back for sure.
Don't whistle back. Yeah.
The one thing that I don't like about what he said that makes me kind of like, I want to say that this could be an animal, but the fact that most of the time when you find parts of a carcass, right, and especially if there's a bunch of flesh still on it, the skin is not completely ripped off.
That's true too. Yeah. It's like there's usually bits of stuff, but again, like I said, some animals will eat it all. But the fact that they're other things, like with the bone bites, I check those bones. Let's get somebody to test them and see what the bite marks might be. But I definitely think worth more investigation.
Yeah, if you want to tell us where you are, we're not going to share it, but we will get people out there that are closer and may know better than us what is out there. And because a lot of the teams that do what we call, like Bigfoot hunting and stuff, are also just hunters. They know what other
Yeah.
creatures. They're not just out there after the paranormal, and they'll go, that's a deer, or that's a cougar, or that's a blah, or that's a blah. They're just more familiar with the area and the animals, because their job is to discount everything else and have that unknown preternatural be left behind. So up to you. If you want our help, we'll help you. Otherwise, don't whistle back. That's my advice to you. Okay, the final one of the day. Here we go. Oh, I don't love this already. So I got a title, and I'm going to hate every bit of this story I can tell.
You wanted a title, Erica.
I now regret saying that. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, travelers.
Hey.
I have a question about sleep paralysis.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've had 4 experiences of sleep paralysis in my life. The first happened in 2020 when an ex-housemate and I moved into a new apartment. It was extremely unsettling and affected me for months. Since then, I've had about another 3 or so different locations, all being similar with visually and physically. But after the first time, I've kind of accepted what it is, and it doesn't freak me out as bad. I've read some theories about why sleep paralysis occurs, but I wonder if anyone has thoughts if it has any relation to paranormal experiences. Regardless, sleep paralysis is wild, anonymous.
Yes.
Well,
Sleep paralysis is wild.
Yeah, there are some scientific explanations. Which we could go down a whole rabbit hole. We did a whole episode on sleep paralysis. It was a Valentine's Day episode, because we talked about sleep paralysis and the woman in white who they're dating. But sleep paralysis, it kind of depends on what comes with it, because if you just can't move and stuff like that, that's one thing, because we've heard of that, and there are scientific explanations for a lot of that. The difference is if you feel like you're being held down by something, which is the other thing people have reported, which is like they call it the hat demon and stuff like that, the hat man. Sorry, where you feel like you're being held down and red glowing eyes, like a very uncomfortable scenario. So I think there are scientific explanations for sleep paralysis and why people encounter it. And then there are paranormal encountering. What I would ask, besides moving into that apartment, is, did you acquire any furniture or anything else that you brought into the home with you that you have taken to the other locations you have been? If so, go throw it in a barbecue and burn it immediately and call it done.
I was wondering how you're going to destroy their furniture.
Yeah, or their house, but they're an apartment, so you can't do that. No,
you should not burn down an apartment building with other people in it. I know that's illegal and frowned upon, but
no, there are things that affect the brain we don't understand that suddenly can cause sleep paralysis. If you change medications, if you change your diet, sometimes, like if you go on a trip, that's why it always happens on trips for a lot of people. They're sleeping on a different pillow, they're sleeping on a different thing, and it triggers different serotonin levels in the brain, and then you'll have weirder dreams, more vivid dreams, or sleep paralysis where your body is just locked up. You're dreaming, but you can't, but you're awake, but your body still thinks you're dreaming, so it's stopping you from moving, stuff like that. So things like that can happen. That's why sleep paralysis is weird. It's wild. Yes, you can have all kinds of weird. People fight sometimes to try to make themselves have sleep paralysis or lucid dreaming. That's stuff, people work for that to try to get that. And that's unhealthy, I think. So just be careful. Make sure you haven't made any severe diet changes. That might have happened since you moved. You might have had more stress. That can happen too. Yeah. There's a lot of things that can trigger sleep paralysis.
Also, I love my sleep doctor. She's out here, Dr. Jody. Thank you. I love her. And the fact is that, like, for those of us, like, I have sleep apnea. So I have to have different things to help me to go to sleep at night because of that. I would, always look for the medical and potentially psychological mental reasons first. And once you eliminate all of those, then you can look into the sort of metaphysical or preternatural reasons something could be happening. But as much as you can have bad experiences and kids can have bad experiences, sometimes it has completely to do with a mental change or a physical thing that you're going through. And you always want to try to resolve that first and then burn any furniture you bought after you moved into that apartment. Not in
And
the
certainly
apartment.
don't watch any episodes of the first season of Evil, because that'll
Well, it's
give you
all
more
the
nightmares.
seasons because it doesn't stop. It
He
keeps
comes back.
happening.
George. We love George, our favorite demon from Evil. But yeah, if you do feel a negative presence or something like that, or you start smelling stuff that smells like burning, or if you and Erica's not there to burn your furniture, you might want to check into, there might be something more to it. And that's generally the sign of sleep paralysis into the preternatural paranormal stuff, is
Exactly.
Or that something's wrong with your house.
With it. Yeah.
Or something's wrong with your house, like your wiring is wrong.
Yeah, that can happen too. Again, we don't know how the brain works 100%. As much as we love it, we also, there's weird things.
Yeah, no, and that's why
weird things. We're done.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, just be careful, and if you need to, do a little crystals in your space. There's all sorts of things you can do to have yourself be in a calm, better place. But yes, we are finished and caught up with all of our listener questions. You know what that means, Mark and Bo?
That we need them to send more questions in.
We need more questions. Yep. We absolutely need more questions. We're going to catch up the listener tales, hopefully in the next episode that we're going to record here soon. But listener questions, we're out, travelers, so we're going to need some more. And, if you want to, you can pre-order your Dark Side of the Smokies, and maybe you'll get some questions from that we didn't quite touch upon. But let me just say, Boo Jump's my favorite. Okay, so anyway. And one thing about it, too, is Carrie has done, again, some absolutely thoroughly amazing artwork in this book. And if you see us in person, you can also pick up your art prints and stuff like that, because there's nothing like the delightful spear finger that just, resonates. It's a vengeance spirit. I love it. With that, Bo, do you have anything to say to our travelers before we part?
Oh gosh, don't put me on the spot. 15% off at warhorsemanpublications.com.
Mark,
and go to our website to see what events we're going to be at, so you can get your books signed, because some of them we're going to all be at.
Yes,
a few. The whole team will be together, hopefully. So eerietravels.com. Keep your eyes open. And with that, gang, I'm going to take us out of here. Once again, Patreon members, thank you for supporting us. Thank you, listeners, for joining in. Share, send it to all your friends. We'd appreciate any new listeners. We always love having new listeners. Thank you, Coast to Coast AM people, for joining us now and sticking with us, and hope you're enjoying it and continue enjoying it. We've got so much more to cover. We've got a lot of things. We've got listener tales coming up. We've got some great interviews lined up. I'm excited for the next few months. We're going to be hitting heavy on con season, so we're going to be making tons of appearances, promoting the new book. We got the book tour coming up. All that said, when you're out traveling, stay safe. If you hear whistling in the woods, no, you didn't. Someone calls your name in the woods, no, they didn't. If you seeing dead pigeons at your house, might want to sweep them away, at least take care of them. And remember, Garth Marenghi, 6 seasons in a movie. And we'll see you on the other side.